Also, Shaq has now shacked up with the General. You know the General commercials.
No way.
The best car insurance. Rates online. Go to the General and save some time. And now Shaq is in those commercials too. As if he could have sunk any lower.
Hey, I'm Shaq. I used to be a celebrity. Now I'm in commercials.
Remember his energy drinks? Those were... And it's time to shut up because we are welcoming everybody to episode number 17 of the List Game. And we're going to go around the room, introduce the folks that are here. You'll recognize some names, of course. To my left, Mr. Blake Benlin.
I am monumentally hungover this morning.
In the big chair that Mackenzie used to fill, we have the philosophistic Rod Diaz.
Hello.
Far away from me, with a big old smiley face arranging his cards, is Mr. Dean Garcia.
Hey, hey.
And we have a new member today. We're going to introduce the great Migle Jacolate.
Good morning.
And, of course, hiding somewhere in the room, probably under the couch, maybe wearing the gimp suit, but we've got to hear from him sometime during the day, because how can you have an episode of the List Game without
The fabulous
Sam Winnie?
Are you guys talking about me?
This is a conversational improv game. Each of our panel members has a list of topics and or phrases that were drawn from the chicken hat. Their goal is to sneak those topics and phrases into the conversation with a tangent. Another member of the panel can call you out, saying, "That's on your list." If they're right, they get a point. If you bluffed or if they're just wrong, you get a point. The List Game is listener supported. Join the List Game community at www.listgame.com. To contact the List Game crew, email listgame@cox.net. COX. Please subscribe to the podcast, rate us, and leave a review. All right, here is today's List Game topic. Computers and robots are getting more and more powerful. Soon we will see AI taking more jobs, self-driving cars, and more robots in the home. What kind of robots do you want to see? Are there ethical questions? Do the 3 laws of Isaac Asimov come into play? How will we keep jobs with robots running everything?
Asimov.
He's Mr. Asimov. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. So, who's going to open the board today?
Well, if we're following the rules of what's-his-face, then I don't think robots can enter the medical profession, right? Because
they're not allowed to injure people and they might have to cut somebody open?
yeah, that and also the chance of a person dying on an operating table.
But that's not purposeful injury, strictly speaking.
The intent is to heal.
I guess. Sure.
And one of Asimov's laws, isn't it that robots are required to save a human life when possible?
When possible,
So
yeah.
they would be, in
that's the
fact,
second law.
surgery would be necessitated.
These laws are confusing me.
You might see a robot start smoking in some situations there. Tries to decide, is this good or bad?
Vaping is a new thing.
They're already actually using at least algorithms right now with, I think, IBM and Deep Blue are working with hospitals and putting in all the data possible for cancer patients on every single thing they can put in, from their DNA sequence to their body temperature to any and all data on everybody throughout their progression of their disease, in order to build algorithms inside the computer so that you can then take other people who they're diagnosing, whether or not they have an illness, and give it to the computer, and the computer will tell you, oh yeah, you've got this, and this is what you need to do.
Unfortunately, there's a point in every algorithm where they go back to the base algorithm of rolling the dice, like the algorithm for a 20-sided die in D&D. So you're just rolling the dice with half of these algorithms, except for the really smart AIs, but there's going to be those shyster algorithms out there.
It's trial and error.
Hasn't there also been a lot of talk about nanobots potentially being used to destroy cancer cells?
Yes. Yeah, pretty much anything you can conceive of right now, from robotic arms, where all the doctor is doing is telling it where exactly it needs to cut, but the cut isn't done by a human hand. The cut is done by a robot that's coming in and doing a very precise cut, oftentimes much, much more precise than a human can do in terms of size and scale. You can get down to a nano size precision cut using a robot, whereas a human hand just can't be that precise.
Right. Yeah.
Sounds like a lawsuit, though. Isn't there a name behind it? Isn't there a name behind every robot of somebody who's responsible? Like the person who made the robot or the person who
That
got the
would
idea to
be-
use it?
Of course, my favorite robot algorithm company and that builds all the robots that are going to know who knows what in society, the Umbrella Corporation.
The main problem I'm seeing with robots taking over professions, like especially medical professions and stuff like that, is takes one EMP to make everything go to shit, and then boom, there's nobody to take care of these people because nobody knows how.
Yeah.
The robots are doing it.
Explain EMP for our listeners.
Electromagnetic pulse.
Electromagnetic pulse, which basically disrupts any mechanical thing.
Yeah, strong enough electromagnetic pulse wipes out circuitry. It wipes out microprocessors. So the only
You're down.
Yeah, the only things that might survive are military grade stuff. That
Would it affect nanobots?
I don't know. I don't think we have them fully developed yet.
And to describe nanobots for everybody, that's little tiny microscopic
Yes.
robots that can go inside your body and
That's right. That's right. And target
mess with cells.
specific cells. Exactly.
Jeez. You can literally do anything with nanobots then.
Pretty much.
Sounds demonic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, once we get robots building nanobots, then it's game over.
Yep. Game over, man.
Game over. Game over.
The Umbrella Corporation is already devising a way to have nanobot assassins.
Oh, well, then
So when
we're
they want to
just
kill
screwed.
somebody, these things, they end up in your cup of coffee and you drink them and then they kill you. Then they leave your body very quickly and everybody doesn't know how you died.
It's like a contagious disease. It's like they leave your body and then go into the next person and boom. Oh, look at that.
I want my army of nanobot assassins. Santa Claus.
I think for every good, there's an opposite, equal bad that could come out of it. Just like anything.
Exactly.
Artificial intelligence, like it can be used for good things, like saving people, and it could be used for killing people.
Exactly.
Just like whose hands does the power end up in,
Exactly. Like we all watched war games, right?
Killing people is saving people.
WOMP was the AI that was, trying to figure out how to win the atomic war game.
Scary.
Hey, the fabulous Sam Winnie, what kind of robots would you like to see in the future?
Can I come out now?
No, standard.
Okay, I want to see robots that can make instant burritos and instant cheeseburgers. Okay, I said enough.
You forgot to say kind of like.
Kind of like, it's kind of like in this one cartoon that it's really obscure. You guys wouldn't have heard of it.
All right, the fabulous Sam Winnie. I think we've heard enough.
Thank you.
I like the robots that clean your carpets and stuff, they wipe, but they don't do such a good job. I'm not too impressed, but it's nice to have something rolling around, just kind of picking up after you.
Yeah.
Roomba.
Yeah. They don't do that great of a job. They kind of just push the dirt around, but I would like to see an efficient cleaner.
Early editions. We're still
right.
perfecting those.
And they're still kind of stupid, they run into the wall and they keep running into the wall,
Yep.
and it's kind of like you got to remove it.
Well, they were more made for our entertainment.
They're made to put cats on.
Yeah, cats riding machines.
And then you put that on YouTube.
Yeah, you
Make a
guys
fortune.
say that now, but during the robot revolution, the appliances are going to be the first ones.
That's right.
Our toasters are going to kill us all.
Yeah, they're the ones acting as robot slaves right now.
So we're gonna have self-driving trucks. We're gonna have self-driving cars. We're gonna have pretty much at some point in the near future. We're not gonna have people flipping burgers. We're gonna have robots doing all the cooking.
We will have those instant burgers.
That will be happening.
They don't even flip them. They just kind of like put the meat patty in what looks like their mouth.
Cook them.
And the cooked thing comes out the other end.
Maybe they just use heat vision.
One of those street vendor things, but it's just like fast and ready pizza. You just boop boop, Oh, look, there it is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think that would take the joy away from cooking and the home feeling of it. I think that's really sad. I'm getting depressed listening to that. I prefer my mom making something. But as far as the cars, I feel like there's going to be somebody who created that, who came up with the idea. So they're going to have the upper hand because they're going to know how they work. So they can like set people up to get run over, and it's going to be the robot's fault.
Umbrella Corporation. Yeah, it's another assassin technique, right?
Yeah,
they just
absolutely.
know, you know when this guy gets out of this thing to go to work and stuff. As he's crossing the street.
They're gonna know. They're gonna know how to set all that up, and there's gonna be people in the courts that are not gonna understand exactly how it happened. So they're gonna have to take the word of the professionals, and the professionals are gonna know a lot more about how to, they're just gonna manipulate the whole situation.
Also, if we think hackers are scary now, imagine if most things are run by technology. I'm not gonna want to.
I hate to tell you, brother, but most things are.
Yeah, we're there.
Currently, right now, today,
True.
running
Yeah, that's
by
true.
technology.
Yeah.
And if there were a big enough EMP, we wouldn't have the electricity we have. We wouldn't be doing this podcast. Probably wouldn't be driving your car.
Drive a car, so joke's on you.
Now I want to be a hacker.
No, I think that the nerds are gonna get a lot more credit in schools, because people are gonna start to figure out that the world is gonna get run by the nerds, So like, it's gonna be cool to be like all into that kind of stuff. Like, girls are gonna like it, They're not gonna go after the bad boy. They're gonna go after the guy who's gonna have millions of dollars and is gonna run everything. You know?
But then at a certain point, they cease to be nerds.
I mean,
they just become the new hunks.
Well, I mean, no, it kind of already is like
Sam
that right
living
now.
proof of that? Isn't he getting all the...
Is he really
Sam, how's your love life? Sam, can I talk again? Yeah, Sam, tell us about your love life. It's okay. Thanks, Sam. You can go back under the couch.
Well, it's usually once they're established and they have all the money and they have all the proof, then and they're riding those nice cars, then it's like, oh wow, this guy's cool. But like in the beginning, when they're just a geek and dork and doing all their homework and stuff, people don't realize that those people are the ones that are gonna blow up. So I think that once the world is run by extreme intelligence, they're gonna see that as like, oh my goodness, this person is really smart. It's gonna be something really cool, just like cars that drive themselves.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed lately, but nerd culture has already become really popular. It's
That's true.
basically the mainstream now.
Yep.
With superhero movies
that's true.
and
Star
everything.
Wars.
Star Wars.
I haven't thought about that.
Don't forget the soon-to-be trending robot clowns.
That's true. And
Robot.
also EA
Is that on your
now
list?
is
Right,
recognized
that's a
as
point.
sport. But what about like sports events? Like I just brought up EA, so that made me think you can't really have robots do sports because then it just will be cheating.
Robot gladiatorial combat.
Except for that, I would watch the hell out of that stuff.
Let's
like
put it
that.
this way. Right now, in football, let's take football. It's a great example. I'm glad you brought it up because in football today, we are discovering that even playing at a not professional level, way below professional level, if you play hard enough, you may do permanent damage to your brain. They are finding today that if you make it all the way up to the professional level, there's a 95% chance that you've already done damage that is irreversible to your brain. And if you continue to play, the worse that damage is going to become, such that by the time you become 40 or 50, you're going to go crazy and kill yourself. And unfortunately, that's
the way
the
I wanna
reality of our current football state. So maybe replacing them with robots is not a bad idea.
Is it just from the physical damage into the brain?
Turns out that slamming your head against other people is just not a good idea, with or without helmets.
Are you sure?
I'm positive, dude.
Is there an episode of the Jetsons where they do the robot football guys? And that could make the game really
Get
fun
rid of
because they can
football.
have full-on
Or just take
battle
them
bots.
to the robot doctors, like connect the neurons.
Yeah, there will be chips in our brains before too long, after all, so we
true.
can just program therapy into our own
Yeah.
heads. I'm sure Sam would like some
doesn't-
programmable therapy.
That doesn't sound safe at all. I wouldn't trust that.
They're actually doing this right now, and this is a true story. There are therapists right now that are using EEGs, collecting the noise that your brain creates and feeding that into a box that turns those sounds into music and then plays that back to you. So you can essentially hear your own inner mental state. And people with PTSD and severe anxiety disorders, when they start to go through one of their episodes, that thing starts to make crazy music and they recognize that they're going into an episode and can calm themselves down before it gets bad.
Like practice.
And that feedback gives them the ability to not go into crazy place. And it's through the ability of computers and technology to pick up what's going on in the mental state of a human being and play it back to them in the form of music such that they can then realize this is my mental state. I can have power over this, and they can
Hallucinate.
regulate themselves back into a normal state and be healthy.
It's like a
so
safe-
these
yeah.
are real things that are happening today and will probably in 20 years become maybe a thing.
It's like a safe way, because like when people are afraid of heights, they take them to the height. Like that's not really safe. So here they just take what your brain perceives and gives it back to you. That's pretty sweet.
But then I guarantee you're going to have people like me that get addicted to it.
I like the music.
That rock and roll,
I like the music.
baby.
I like the music.
It's time to party.
When I cut myself.
It's like I'm feeling stressed out. Replay my brain for me.
just keep insulting me.
My arsenal is ready. I'm all loaded up and ready to go.
Brain scans are getting more popular now, though, but they're still like really expensive. Like a lot of times you could tell from looking at the brain what's going on, and people are getting more into like that's the problem. Like I heard there's like a little kid that started acting up, and he was getting all violent, and he was like biting people at school, and they're like, what's wrong with this kid? And it turned out there was a tumor on a part of his brain. So it wasn't until then when they operated it, all that aggression and all that stuff stopped. But at first they tried to give him medication and stuff, but like it was literally like that's the imaging and the technology that saved him, because what was really going on was that there's something on the part of his brain where feelings and emotions and his actions were based, he was just responding to something like that. And so once they scanned the brain, they saw, okay, that's what was wrong with it. We can take that out. But
Now, is AI going to run this? Artificial intelligence?
That's why I'm like a little sketch with
Who's making
things
the
going on,
decisions?
people doing stuff to people's brains, because that's your brain is you. Yeah, that's where everything that's happening to you,
it's your personality.
emotion, your personality, everything.
Your
And
memories, your everything.
your humanity.
If someone like puts something in your brain, like I don't know what Blake mentioned earlier, a chip for what'd you say?
For I don't
Pooping.
know, anything.
Just anything,
Pooping.
I guess. Yeah, it's just like
Extra storage. I know I could use some extra memory.
just add a new battery. To your
just
brain.
add another chip in there. I could just transfer like all my college years into there.
But we've been doing stuff to the brain ever since when people became aggressive, and they would make them into a vegetable. Like that was just an extreme thing, and then they realized, exactly. They're like, well, wait a minute, that's not humane. But it's
The truth is,
I wonder if this is good.
there's really two organs, I would argue, of the human body that we know absolutely nothing about in comparison to all the other organs. And those are the brain and the liver.
They're gonna say the heart.
The heart we can replace with a mechanical heart.
That's
We can
figured that one out.
We can replace anything in your body except for those two. We cannot replace your liver.
Cannot?
You can lose 2/3 of your liver. I can go in and chop out 2/3 of your liver, and it will grow back, and it will continue to work.
Oh, I didn't know
And it'll be
that.
fine. Strangely enough, your liver is one of the most regenerative organs in your body, and it has properties that are not understood by science. And we cannot build a machine that does what your liver does, nor can we build a machine that does what your
Cheers
brain
to
does.
that. I think that the most intelligent things that it's still a mystery are just nature. The way that our bodies recover, the way that the most intelligent things we thought of are actually just repeats of the body, like antibiotics. That's a natural thing that our body has,
Yep.
but we just replicate that. So
Sure.
I think that some of the most intelligent things we still don't understand. We just follow nature. We copy nature.
Yeah, and that's
what we as organic creatures don't understand about ourselves or our organs. Artificial intelligence will learn.
right.
Oh, and since the artificial intelligence can rebuild things with the new cell technologies that we're going to get like different versions of animals.
Oh,
Food.
I've seen some of those. They're illegal, but like they still happen. If you search on YouTube enough, you'll find some weird stuff, and you don't know if it's true or not. And they can always claim that it's not real.
I'm looking forward to boneless livestock and playing games of kick the chicken.
Oh, that sounds cruel. Boneless livestock. It's just little piles of slime, like meat. Just like
I feel like if it seems inhumane and it feels wrong, then it probably is. But the problem is that people are at different levels on it, So
Yeah.
somebody may say, well, this is totally humane, and they can justify it because they're like, well, if we find a cure for cancer, then it will all make sense later on. So it's just like a very iffy line. And I think that because the laws, they have to fixate on one of it. There's still a lot of stuff going on outside of it. And sometimes when they find something really cool that works, then all of a sudden it becomes partially legal because, now we can justify it. But it's it's still how they went about it and how they found out about it could be all bad.
I don't know. I don't think you can justify making animals boneless. That
Oh,
just
no.
seems cruel all around.
The only moral alternative, I don't think what we do now, I don't think factory farming is a healthy or sustainable way of feeding ourselves. And the fact that it takes 16 pounds of wheat or anything to create 1 pound of meat is a very serious problem. And that's not counting the water. It also takes a ton more water to get 1 pound of meat versus 1 pound of any grain you choose. So just basic math is what we're doing right now to feed ourselves as a society is very harmful to society. It's very harmful to the ecology, and it's obviously very harmful to the millions of animals that get slaughtered.
I've already seen the AI solution to this problem, though, and they're working on it, but people can't do it anymore. They got to develop the right AI that's going to make this thing work. And that is, the AI is going to transform the human body into an agricultural machine so that the food that we eat actually grows on our bodies. And you have to, like when it rains, you got to run outside naked. Because I need my broccoli to grow, baby.
It's like those commercials in which Skittles grow on your skin.
I don't know why, but that's disgusting to me.
I got a big zucchini for you, baby.
No, oh my god, like maybe in 20 years it'll totally be something cool because I'm pretty sure there's we think things are disgusting in different countries. Like, how can you skin a cat and eat it? Like, that's gross. But they look at us and they're like, how can you eat a pig? Pigs are sacred or whatever. And so like we think it's gross, but it's like I think it's just the way that socially our minds are made, you know?
Well, I think there's a few things. One of them is that human beings aren't really built to have a high meat diet. And the reason I say that is if you
Speak for yourself.
if you compare the physiology of human beings to other herbivores and then you compare it to, say, carnivores or omnivores, what you'll find is that there's certain similarities. All herbivores have really, really long serrated colons. All herbivores have jaws that can move side to side with large molars in the back so that you can chew your cud, right? Well, guess what we have? All omnivores and carnivores have really long canines so they can bite into their thing. We don't have those long canines. They also have really high acid in their mouths to break down meat and acid in their stomach to break down meat, and very short colons that are not serrated so that the meat can pass through fast. We don't have any of those features. And when I look at human beings' physiology and compare it to herbivores versus omnivores and carnivores, we match 100% every feature of the herbivore and none of the both meat and plant-eating or meat-eating mammals that share this planet with us.
As a general rule, yes. But I feel like there's different cultures, you know, like there's people like people in my country, we grew up eating potatoes and meat. And,
Absolutely.
And I mean, that stuff like processes through my body correctly. Like I can eat the richest meat and for some reason, you know what I mean? And there's people in India that eat Indian food and then they come to America and they eat burgers and they get fat and their body doesn't react to it correctly. And so it's kind of, I feel like
diarrhea.
I feel like it has, I mean, I believe everything you're saying and I agree with it, but I also say that like in generations it also depends what did your grandparents, your great, you know, what did your ancestors eat. That's probably what's gonna fit with your body, you know, like the Asians, like they eat rice, a lot of rice. Like I eat that much rice, I would get huge, but they eat all kinds of rice all the time and they're not because their bodies know how to process it. Their whole generations are used to it and they respond well to it. You know,
I want to know, did you say serrated colon to try to get a bluff point?
No.
Okay, so here's what I'm worried about when we're growing our gardens on our bodies to eat, or even other things that are going to happen because the AI is taken over, is, well, who's in charge of how the AI thinks to begin with as they're developing it? And is that like the 1%? Is that the rich people that are controlling things now? Because there's still going to be poor people and stuff. So let's say you're growing all your food on your body and stuff. Well, if you go outside, you got to worry about the people that didn't have the resources to have this happen to them.
The growing of
so you're going to have
vegetables.
poor, starving people tackling you in the streets.
It all goes back to eating people.
Every time.
And
I
this
had
time
to get it in there.
Every
We gotta
time.
eat people.
Now it's going to be easier too because there's going to be food growing off of people. So you're just like, oh,
It'll be
It'll be like the new social thing, you
But
know?
it doesn't
Like
hurt then, and you don't die because they just run up
like
and
we
they,
have a picnic. You just invite different people that grow different stuff, you know? So you have a
they're just
variety.
ripping some cauliflower off your butt cheeks and running away.
So maybe-
It's like,
so
oh, I
maybe-
didn't like that part anyway.
So maybe we end up with an AI that's like not going to be an awful AI and kill us all. Maybe we'll have an AI that will
that
like,
would be nice.
that will look at the human condition and say, okay, obviously these people aren't all that bright and need some help, so I'm going to go ahead and just feed them and get their stuff done for them, and we can just live glorious lives of self-discovery.
So does that mean that we eliminate this is what I was actually getting at, not so much the food thing, is if the AI was originally controlled and the algorithms are written by, say, you know, the most powerful people and the rich people, do we end up still, and I know we do in some way or another, we end up with some kind of a new caste system? Because, you know, what part are you going to play in society? What part, you know, depending on what family you're born into or where you were born, does that happen, or does the AI actually achieve making everybody equal?
Right. Well, I mean, this goes back to the people who are the specialists in the AI are ultimately going to be in control of everything, right?
Somebody's still got to clean the toilets, man.
There's
Yeah.
always,
Yeah, no, for sure.
there's always,
always
the
gonna be-
possibility that AI declares independence, shall we
Right,
say, from its programmers, and I think that's the most likely.
You mean when they become self-aware?
eventuality. Exactly.
So the people who are developing it would obviously want to put in some sort of kill switch, some sort of AI override.
But,
That's
turn
when
it
you
off.
tell the Roomba to clean the toilet.
but depending on how smart this AI
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
Yeah,
The trouble
and maybe
is,
that'll-
machines
it'll
are.
know. It'll know
Yeah,
that
they
that's
just
there.
get
and
rid of
just-
the kill switch or
Yeah,
something.
it'll just be like, no, I don't think I want to
Yeah,
get
I
turned
think
off today.
a machine probably would have foreseen something like a kill switch.
Right.
The problem is that technology has the potential to be so much smarter and more capable than we are that there's not much we can do about it.
They'll end up with like some sort of crazy procedure to turn it off, you know, where you just kill all the power. But then that would be like, the onus would be on the developers to know that it can get that bad, and they'll probably never.
But that's when the line is crossed, is when they become self-aware, because then they're just showing signs of humanity, and then you're like, okay, how much of humanity is in there already?
Yeah.
Well, the main problem with AIs they've made in the past that I have noticed is they have the internet have them teach, like they have
Yeah.
them learn from the internet.
Yes.
Which has resulted in very bad things. I
Yes.
think one
I have
AI
learned
was
from
like
the
a
trolls.
racist person, and
Yes.
then and
Yes.
then another one just it learned cuss words, and then it just didn't stop using cuss words.
Yeah. It's
Stuff
like
like
all
that.
it did.
Yeah. So
So the ruler of society is a troll.
yeah,
Pretty much.
basically because that's what they're learning from the internet. That's what
And
they're
everything is on the
seeing in
internet.
comments.
Everything
Yeah.
is on the internet. Like when I think about like even like my life today, like everything is on there. Like even if I don't try to put it on there, it's on there one way or another by something I search, by someone I contact, you know? So like if everything of me is on the internet, then definitely everything of everything is on the internet. Like
You
there's
got to go off grid, man. Hide in the woods.
So-
oh, that was another episode.
if we want an AI to be good, then we have to cut its access from the internet and have us teach it like normal
so like
people.
raise it like a kid, right?
Exactly, raise it like a kid. Don't
Limit its
don't go the
internet
easy
privileges.
No internet, no
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good policy
Homeschooling.
for children. It's a good policy for AI.
I mean, like, I
Yes.
know I'm gonna go a little nerdy here, but the only reason Ultron from the Avengers comic books wants to destroy the world is because he's seen everything from the internet.
internet, yeah.
So he's all like, "Well, this place is horrible. The
And let's
humans
face
suck."
it, if any of us
Humans suck.
learned everything via the internet,
Yeah.
we would have the same exact
Exactly.
Every
Oh,
perspective.
that's true.
every time I
Right.
visit the internet, I want to destroy humanity.
That's right.
Oh, you know, like in
Go to 4chan for a while.
In Europe, you know, actually, I just read this. In Europe, in Lithuania, and in Russia, in Lithuania and Latvia, they have the fastest internet, like 500 per.
They do.
Yeah, and so, but they also have the highest suicide rate. And like, I wonder if that's related.
Because they're getting the information faster. They're like, "Oh, no, damn it."
Here's food for thought. What about the possibility of AI developing, shall we say, mental illnesses? Because I gotta tell you, my computer's pretty bipolar most of the time. I don't want it
but
running
that's-
society.
That's an interesting concept. Like AI's over time developing things that humans could do. Like in due time, like instead of like with 3D printers and stuff, in due time AIs can basically give birth and have little babies, little robot circuit babies.
If they can develop illnesses, they can also cure them. So there's the justification morally, right?
Well, supposedly we can too.
How would a machine be able to recognize its own illness necessarily in order to fix it? If it's some kind of delusion, like let's say it's some digital equivalent of narcissism, it's not going to turn on itself.
Have you guys seen The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yes.
There's Martin the robot, who's a very depressed robot. He's super intelligent, but very, very depressed.
He's seen it all.
He's sad because he's got a huge intellect and all he does is open doors for people.
And I mean, are these, you gotta think, are these real emotions? Or are these
That's
just
another argument.
programmed things into them?
The diseased AI, if some human comes up to it and says, dude, you're sick, we gotta fix this, is it gonna say, no way, I'm fine, fuck you?
Just like Hal in 2001: A Space
That's
Odyssey.
right, exactly. That's a perfect example. Is Hal didn't really
It
know
doesn't
he had a
perceive
problem.
anything wrong with it.
He didn't know there was a problem. He was just given instructions that went against his base programming and lost his
Did the
shit.
Space Odyssey AI come from like a bigger AI on Earth, or did they just build one AI for the spaceship?
So Hal, if you look at the letters HAL, they're one letter off of IBM.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
That's interesting.
That's the idea behind Hal, is that he's the epitome of the best IBM computer.
What they were thinking.
In the future will be Hal. Which actually turned out to be not inaccurate, because Deep Blue is IBM's baby, and Deep Blue is one of the best AIs out there right now.
That's the obelisk in
Deep-
Space Odyssey. That's Deep Blue, right?
No, Deep Blue is the computer that beat Asimov in chess, the top chess player.
What about checkers?
Checkers, I don't know about.
Hungry Hippo. Now when a machine can beat a man at
Rock'em
that, then I'll be
sock'em.
concerned.
They gave the same AI tic-tac-toe and it just blew up.
Pin the tail on the donkey. There are all these games. I really wonder how robots would do it.
I would
playing
love
them.
to see a robot try to play charades. That would be so fun.
Okay, AI is running society for us and making everything wonderful and beautiful. What does it give us for entertainment? Like, are we getting new games? I mean, we're not going to have so much to do as in the line of jobs, because we're going to have the Roomba cleaning the toilet and stuff.
Stankovision implants.
I don't think robots would be able to take over acting.
I agree.
I don't
That's
see
something that.
I don't see.
In Futurama, they do.
That's true. In Futurama they do, but in
Calculon.
Calculon!
In Futurama,
with his dramatic pause.
these robots in Futurama, these robots are basically human. They have all.
But what's to say
emotional
we're not gonna
capabilities.
have robots at some point in the future that meet that criteria?
The new 900 number is going to be the Midnight Scrabble Tournament.
Define human though. Like they're basically human, you know.
What
That's
is
a very
humanity?
philosophical
Well,
question.
I'm thinking kind of like Terminator, only without the killing part. You know, in terms of looking human, having an exterior. In
Wow,
every
do we
sense,
really want that?
I'm not saying we want that.
Well, I
I'm
want
just saying
that in my
that's a
sex
potential.
bot. When I get my sex bot,
You definitely want the flesh, but
I want 3 of them that look just like Rosanna.
but the
Rosanna's
point.
tired. No, you're not.
The point is,
Click.
there isn't anything keeping that from being a possibility.
Like genetic selection.
No. Just in terms of like, I think we have the technology at this point that we can make something like that in the near future.
Oh yeah, there are already humanoid robots. For instance, Saudi Arabia granted citizenship
That's right.
to a robot, and
What?
apparently this robot,
Wants to have a family.
it wants a baby. We were
It wants to
talking
have a family.
about robots
So they
displaying
gave it
human
a
emotions.
slinky and a 9-volt battery and said, "Here you go."
to
They gave it a Teddy Ruxpin and a razor.
Maybe we'll in the future for entertainment we'll have like things where we can go and just like shoot down drones or.
The robots won't like that. Sounds like something they definitely wouldn't like.
They're not going to be drones that are like built to care that they're getting shot down. They're going to be built to like
Built to
want
care.
to dodge and feel good if they manage to dodge you and they get hit. Well, they'll get fixed and go back.
Well,
into
let me tell
it.
you, if robots have the same emotional capabilities as humans, even if these droids would be built to do that and stuff. It would be the same arguments people have with like chickens and cows and stuff. They would be like, oh, well, it's still a robot, and I don't like the fact that you guys are just shooting them out of the sky. Because
There will always be somebody who will say
I mean,
something like that.
chickens take a while to feel pain, and their stuff travels slowly. That's why when you chop their heads off or something
That's
like that.
not
Yeah,
true.
bro.
Is that not true?
None of what you're thinking is actually true. Chickens and every other animal are exactly like us in every way, shape, and form.
I remember I was a chicken
That's
in a
interesting.
past
Thank
life,
you.
and when they chopped my head off, it was immediate.
the part of our brain that feels, like controls hunger, that controls the very base feelings and everything. Is the
Amygdala.
Back on the subject of future entertainment, I think we'll all be hackers, given the increasing importance of technological matters.
Right.
We'll just hack for fun. Like we'll hack into the self-driving ice cream trucks and bring them right to our doorstep.
Nice, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a lot more hacking. It's going to be more
Oh,
like a
yeah.
Matrix-style future in terms of living within the some online communities. There's going to be a whole lot more want to plug in and just go off and do something for hours and hours. That's totally
Yeah, I'm
gonna be
thinking
there.
that too. You'll be able to call in your entire entertainment system right into your brain
Yep.
anytime you want.
Don't want that.
Boom, giant casino that you just plug into,
Yep.
and you're playing Bitcoin roulette.
Yeah, it's going to be red pill, blue pill all day long.
I mean,
There will
as
be,
we come up with these things, there's always going to be, and I was thinking that earlier, like what if like then that someone will use it for a bad thing, or like someone will hack in and they will benefit. I mean, but if we think about all that, we're just going to get stuck on and not develop it. So we have to go ahead and develop it and then catch up with the consequences as they come, right?
Yeah.
That's just kind of what
Take
we've
it in
been
stride.
doing, And then there's going to be people who are going to get jobs because their job is going to be to protect the people from doing that,
Yeah.
kind of like the internet. Like,
Yeah,
you catch these websites because they're not supposed to be up there, so you take them down, and that's your job, So that's going to create jobs.
So the best case scenario, I think, is if we end up with a benevolent AI that's like looking out for us and not out to kill us all immediately, and that allows us to like focus ourselves to exploration, maybe space travel, maybe moving forward on all kinds of interesting sciences and all kinds of things that we could be doing that we don't do. And the only thing we really need to be worried about is like not overpopulating the earth.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem. And
We've already done
We're already
that.
failing that.
don't worry, the nuclear wars will take care of that.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, probably AI
I
will
think we
help.
topped out at 4 billion.
I think we're somewhere near 8.
But that's a real issue.
Yep.
It
The
is a very
artificial
real
intelligence needs to figure it out because we have not figured it out. I mean,
No.
China, you can only have one
As
kid
in
in
every
China, right?
episode, it has to come up. That's where the AI realizes that's how you solve the food problem.
You start eating people.
Oh,
See? Right. Infrared targeting, you start bringing in the people, and then you start manufacturing the tacos out of people.
Right, yeah. What's to stop like the AI to think of things over logically like that? Like, oh, we're running out of food. I guess we'll just make people into food, and then that'll solve 2 problems in
At
one.
once.
And
There's a
Rod
certain
said
genius to
tacos,
it.
but I think whatever kind of food you get depends on the ethnicity of the person.
So the Mexicans turn into tacos.
Italians just grow spaghetti strands out of their head.
We're joking about this, but in 100 years, someone will get their hands on this recording and they're like, oh, they thought it was funny.
and what's worse is it's making me hungry.
Cannibalism is in our history, right? So, I mean, history repeats itself. You never know. That could be a real thing. In fact,
I
it
eat
could be
somebody
going on
every
right
day.
now. It could be going on right now. I mean, what a great way to hide a body, right?
Never know.
Speaking of things that could be going on right now, The Matrix.
Yeah, the Matrix, totally.
I think
yeah.
somebody had to bring that up.
There's
Yeah,
a very
totally.
large possibility that this is just a simulation.
I'm sure Sam knows all about that.
Hey, Sam, would
There-
you like
there
to
is.
share with us your thoughts on AI? Sam, what? Sam, we're wondering about what you think on the subject of artificial intelligence.
From the fabulous Sam Maloney.
Stop calling me that. Artificial intelligence is cool because it makes robots do things that we want them to do.
Very.
Can I go back onto the couch? Can I go back on the couch now?
Okay, but can you at least spray a little bit of the Lysol down there?
Oh,
Getting a little rank.
Yeah, okay. All right, Sam. Thank you. I think we've had enough. You can crawl back under there. Okay. I think AI will also change the way we educate ourselves. There will be tap-in learning modules for when you want to pop your thought balloon.
from anything too, because like, think about the way even trees communicate with each other. So we'll be able to tap into a tree and extract the knowledge. We'll be able to we'll be extracting the knowledge from every sentient thing that we want. It's like I want to know what it's like to think like a meerkat. I'm doing it.
Look right in, get it.
Well-
there was a role-playing game in my youth, and I can't remember it for the life of me what the name of it was, but what it was it was set in the future, and it was in this like
Post-apocalyptic?
kind of. I mean, it was in a future where you were in a city and everybody gets born into a test tube, and you're a clone of yourself, right? And everything is run by an AI, and the AI runs the entire city, runs everything, and you're just given a job, and you go and you do your job. The thing about it is that the AI is completely insane and will try
is
to
this
kill
like GURPS?
you. Yeah, that AI was it was lunatic. It was a completely lunatic AI, and it would constantly give you these vitamins and supplements and like drugs. If you were depressed, it would make you happy, or if you were like, and it would just kill you constantly, and then it would reincarnate you and regrow you from your cells, and then put you back into the field to go and get killed again. Because that was
True to
it.
life.
Yeah, that's where AI is going.
Jeremiah French is right now in the midst of writing this story that's going to be one of the podcasts on Chronosphere Fiction. Remember to look up Chronosphere Fiction, folks. Subscribe to it, rate it, review it. It's great. Anyway, and it's based on this AI that has gone through so much developing of things that we could possibly never imagine. It's done things like, in your neighborhood, there will be this one area that's a little bigger than the size of a house or two, okay? And it has taken a piece of a black hole and put it there. And whatever you want to do that might be unacceptable, un-PC in society, you want to be a serial killer, whatever, you jump into this black hole, and while you're in there, you have this whole other world where you get to do anything you want, and you jump back out.
That reminds me, we won't really need self-driving cars or anything of that nature, maybe not even planes, if we can pioneer transportation through black holes.
Or we're gonna have the Star Trek transporters.
Beam me up, Scotty.
Once we have those, then we can make the replicators, and then we have all of our meat.
Not even have to grow meat. We'll just replicate it.
Yep.
All I want is a
Grab
holodeck.
atoms out of the air.
And that gives you a holodeck as well.
Holodeck would be awesome.
But then you go onto that one holodeck where the AI has the disease that Blake brought up earlier.
And it kills you.
No, you don't get killed, man. You just get trapped there. and things
tortured.
are nuts forever.
So, if machines do overthrow humanity and enslave us, do you think they'll force us to speak in ones and zeros?
Oh, I hope not.
Bring it
No,
in.
no. What'll happen is that they'll put chips in us that will allow them to control us.
There's gonna be classes. There's definitely gonna be classes that are gonna be
like-
required in school to take. We don't even understand right now.
I feel like it would be more like subdue training through your dreams. While you're sleeping, they use that time to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Manipulate.
Implant.
Condition?
Yes, all of those.
Train.
Through your dreams, that way you don't even know you're being trained.
Yeah.
You wake up and you're like, oh, time to listen to my robot overlords.
Indoctrinate.
Does the AI create a humanoid representation of itself to be friendly looking to us?
Oh,
Something that
definitely.
walks around and essentially becomes the president of Earth or the king of Earth. Unfortunately, it's Q.
So basically, AI has two major ways it can go. It's either going to destroy us all, or it's going to enslave us. Or is that basically what we're?
But as long as we
down
don't
to?
know, then it's okay.
Right.
You know.
Or it's controlling us from the shadows, making us think we're
That's still
living in free
enslaving.
will. Yeah, but in a nicer way.
Sure.
Fun slavery.
Fun slavery.
I'm really still hopeful that we'll end up with a Star Trek like computer, and then you can ask the computer for something, and you can just walk up and get things. But like you yourself are not being like dominated by anything, right? That you're a free agent. You can do whatever you feel like doing, and that would be the best future. And whatever we need to do to make that happen, I think that'd be awesome. And I think that's probably not the future we're headed for.
As long as we don't end up being those fat guys in the floating lounge chairs in that cartoon with the little white robot.
Wally?
Yeah.
Wally.
I don't know. That seems like a pretty chill life.
I could dig that. You might not live as long, but you live good.
Yeah.
I'm personally of the opinion that most people are actually interested in doing things.
That's true.
I don't know.
interested in doing things.
I know a lot of people.
Hey, if I
who-
didn't have to work, I'd be doing this all day, every day.
But this is still a thing, right?
Yeah.
This is still a thing,
Yeah.
right? And this is a perfectly legit thing, right? There's plenty of things that I think people could be doing that aren't their job that would be totally awesome for people to
absolutely.
be doing.
If I can make podcasts all day, every day.
I think that'd be a
think that-
perfect use of people's time.
I just changed my mind. I think artificial intelligence is a great thing. I think if we can get all the dirty work to be done by robots and all this stuff that we don't feel like doing or we don't even have to be doing, if I could just be sitting in the car, I'd rather be on my phone than driving.
That's
You know,
the
I mean,
idea.
obviously I'm trying to do
Yeah.
both, so
But now robots are doing everything. So now you have a phone, you have a this, you have that.
I think
because-
some things would like to keep, you know.
Well, what I'm saying is, how do we know who has what? Does everybody have
it's like,
everything?
do I have the phone or does the phone have me?
No,
you
no.
know?
Does everybody have everything? That's what I brought up earlier about like the caste system. You know, do the rich people have all the good stuff? You know, are there people who
I
get
think the
screwed?
smart people should have all the good stuff. And
How
then,
you know who's smart?
The ones that figure it out.
Which basically goes back to what we have now.
It's true.
So in the end, nothing in society
somebody-
will change,
Yeah,
even
Exactly.
with the
I mean,
introduction
somebody
of
could come
AI.
up with
Not the
something
worst
really
that can
great,
happen.
but eventually they're gonna want to make money from it. You know, they could have it for themselves for a little while, but then they're like, well, why not make it into some millions? And then next thing you know, is all the people that have the millions that have access to
I
it.
like that from another episode Rod came up with before that the AI would come up with some kind of credit system where you basically get an allowance
Oh, that's cool.
every month. And then maybe that allowance is increased based on your creativity and input to society.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that there is already, I mean, there's in other countries, I mean, I know in Germany, like, there's countries where the poverty doesn't really exist because you do get money from the government, despite, you know, don't have to be qualified because you're, you know, disabled or anything. Like, you actually get money from the government for having a child, for example. And so a lot more people are doing
I'm
what they
against
love.
that.
But a lot more people are doing what they love to do. So if you want to make more money, then you can
Yep.
go ahead and go out there and work.
Yep.
But you're going to have your basics. That way you're not functioning on this, like, low-level survival mode.
Yeah, where you
Totally.
wake up in the morning and go like, oh, how am I going to eat today?
Totally.
Yeah, and like,
Oh, wait,
if
I'm
you
going to
can
tackle that
eliminate-
guy with the broccoli growing out of his head.
If
And I even think when it comes to stuff, it won't be possessive anymore.
Right.
You know, why be possessive? You know, I have this crazy guitar collection in the other room. Well, how about, you know, if somebody wants to play a nice guitar, it's just there. Come over and play it, you know, but don't be a jerk and mess it up.
And don't
Yeah,
touch
but
it.
if everybody had a nice guitar collection, then it wouldn't be such a big thing. It wouldn't be
I
something.
mean, it would be a communal one.
Right.
It's
Or,
just,
yeah.
you know, because like half the time, half the stuff I have is sitting in its case, not even being
Yeah.
used.
So,
Yeah.
so it's the idea is called universal basic income. or
Correct.
UBI.
Universal basic, yeah.
Universal basic income. And
But I mean, is that realistic though? Is that possible? Because we
People
do
are
need,
discussing it.
But we do need. I mean, we
like
do need to grow the food, right? But that's what I'm saying. So if it can be grown and if it can be manufactured on its own, then we wouldn't need for people to go and work all those hours to get to just so they can get paid. That all can happen on its own, but that's going to cost money. But like a lot of our money is going to waste. A lot of our billions of dollars are going to wars and things like that. So if like we could work together and put that towards that, I think more people would be for it. At least
But
the
if you
poor
don't
people.
make missiles, what would SpongeBob do?
But all the people that have all those things and that are up there and that have a lot of money, they don't really think about that. They just want more. But then the people that don't, they just want the basics, you know? So who knows? Then maybe everybody would get spoiled and maybe there'd be a whole other you.
it's hard to say.
But we can't give up,
Guess
you
we'll
know?
find out.
We will
Yeah,
find
we
out.
have to find out. You can't let the bad things that could happen stop us from doing the good things that could be.
So it's going to become a problem one way or another because, like, one of the major employers right now in America is truck driving, right? Truck drivers are like
Very important.
a huge.
It's true.
I
Get
don't know
stuff
what the
where it's
actual
gotta go.
numbers are,
Yeah.
but
Look at Puerto Rico with the hurricane.
Yeah.
It's like people were screwed because they couldn't get the stuff. They have the stuff. We have all this stuff to give you guys.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get it from here to there because they didn't have the people that could do it.
So in the next 10 years, we're going to start seeing the first orders already placed for the first self-driving trucks.
Yeah,
And,
really?
Oh yeah, they're going to lose their jobs in the next 20 years.
Oh, that's going to suck.
Less.
Exactly.
Less.
And less.
20
yes.
years, we're
Yeah.
going to have drones.
Yeah, yeah.
That
And
can fly.
Yeah.
And
Supplies.
carry a lot of stuff.
And not only
They're
that,
going to have little stations like on top of the roof of
Yeah.
7-Eleven and stuff, you know?
So some of the industries that I know that are going to be completely automated in AI, it's going to be manufacturing. Right now, today, there's a manufacturing plant in China that is gone 100% automated. They used to have 600 workers. Now they have 60 workers. And those 60 workers are now producing 250% more product than they were producing with 600 people.
It's kind of like when they
Which
first.
is
So you-
exactly
so
why
you can
we
do the
have
math.
to go UBI.
Right, do the math right there.
Right.
Just take those numbers that I just gave you, do the math, and you can see that everybody's going to start doing that. And
Which
the
is
next-
exactly why
Right.
we're going to
Right.
have to go UBI because
Right.
because all the jobs are going to be done.
They're going to
by
be automated.
machines and stuff.
Yeah.
I
Everything's
think
going to be
sounds
automated.
great.
Now,
Yeah.
Belle,
And-
wait a minute. I have a question there. Has been brought up. There's millions, billions. We're at 7 billion, 8 billion people. If you are creating more of a burden by making more poor people, do you get less UBI?
What we need is good family planning.
Yeah,
what we need
there
is
should be an allowance. It's like how many babies do you get to have? You
No,
know?
we need
no more of this.
We need
like,
education, and
you know,
we need.
I'm going to have 12 babies.
Yeah,
Well, if you're
we-
going to have 12 babies,
Yeah, you can't do
need
that.
to you need to contract with other people that say, well, we're not going to have any.
Right.
So you can have mine.
Oh, I see.
You got to plan
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
Because we're at the level where it's like,
But
no,
we'll have
this
the
is
we'll
too
have the
many
time
people.
and the resources
Stop.
to do that
Yeah.
because we don't have to go to work.
We need to
every day.
educate people on the problem of overpopulation. I don't think people realize the problem that it is. And
Agreed.
so once people start to realize that it is the problem that it is, I'm hopeful that they'll make the wise choice. And if not, then we'll have to find some way.
Yeah, hopefully
But-
you'll be able to walk into a booth and slide a $5 bill in the slot and get your abortion in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
But when you think about, but we still have plenty of land, and when you think about like how how we're using, the work field and how it's less people and it's more machinery and more profit comes out of it. I mean, then it's also like the more people, the more intelligence, the more that comes and that happens. So we're just spreading. The only problem is we're just going to take up all the room, but we still have plenty of room. So it's not an actual problem directly today.
Well, it is in terms
There's
of
hunger.
Yeah, there is a
But
problem.
there's too
We
much
don't-
food. There's
we-
too
we
much
don't-
food. It's just the distribution of the food, right?
Well, it's part of the problem is that there's not enough resources for the number of people. So right now, the way that Americans live is somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 times more opulent than the average human being on the planet. The average human being on the planet doesn't eat like we do. They don't get the things we do. They don't
Right.
have cars like we do. They don't have the life that we do. They live in pretty miserable conditions. And
But they're not miserable. They're
Based
probably
on the way
happier
that
than we
I
are.
eat,
They're not
Yes.
on antidepressants.
That's
and-
true.
and going to
That is
meetings.
absolutely true. That is true. But the reality is that we are over consumers. We
Yes, we're
overconsume
definitely.
for
And proud of it. How embarrassing.
and that if we had everybody on the planet living the way we did, then all the resources on the planet would be gone before you managed to do that. So the reality is we can't live like this, like we are now here, right, all over the world. That is
An unsustainable model.
Have
it's
another donut,
It is
Rod.
not reality. Therefore, the only thing we can do is either have less people on the planet, and the number of people that could live like we do on the whole world is about 1 billion. And if we could get the number from 8 billion to 1 billion, then we can live pretty freaking cool lives.
4 billion's pretty cool. If
we
can
only
get
have to
back
kill
4,
7 billion
If you're,
people.
if that is that, what are you calling happiness though? Like resources and things, or like human relationships? Because
I'm-
there's people that are really poor in other
Well, you
countries,
combine
but
a
they
lot
have
of these ideas that we put together, like the communal property.
In resource consumption, I'm talking just total flat footprint, carbon consumption of resource land use, everything. And in total, if you live like an average American lives, and I'm talking just the average American, then you need about 1 billion people max on this planet. And then you can have everybody living the way we are. Or we can cut our opulent lifestyle
I'll
in
line up
half,
for the
and you can have
sacrifice,
2
man.
billion people.
No thanks,
Or
right?
you could go into a quarter, and you can have 4 billion people. But it's just, we're playing a math game at this point, and all I can say is the math is the math, and you just got to do what you got to do.
And we
with
could
it.
go Logan's Run. You're only allowed to live to be like
you
30
go.
years old. And
There
then
you go.
that's
Uh-oh.
it. You're
Problem
done.
I'd be
is-
done
I'm down
this
with
year.
that.
Americans
this
are the
year.
most stubborn people ever.
They really are.
When they try to change the metric system, nope.
Yeah,
So I
it's
mean,
crazy.
like try to change their lifestyle
crazy.
to half, they'll be freaking out.
Yeah, it's easier just to kill 6 billion people.
Honestly, yeah.
It's all just about the method. Let's go old school. Sabers and knives.
It's going to be American feudalism.
And
Why
then
don't we just get rid of the other people?
and we eat them. All right, guys. Well, it's time to go through the score
I saw you like reading right off the thing and talking, and I'm like, I wonder if this is a trick. I'm just gonna let that one
there you
Maybe
slide.
it was.
It was, huh?
Might have been.
Because you're
Might not have been.
episodes
You're
where-
talking and you're like, blah blah blah.
So, the Koala Mundi.
I'm really gonna. Blake,
Okie
you
dokie.
have no bluff points. What did you do?
I got bipolar computer,
I thought that was yours.
ones and zeros,
Yes.
popping your thought balloon,
Yes.
tap in learning modules, hacking the ice cream trucks.
I thought you were just really intelligent.
Nonsense. Don't be ridiculous. Programmed therapy,
Program therapy. That was a good one. We all went off on that. Yeah.
transportation via black hole, Stankovision implant.
Oh, of course.
And I give myself kudos for putting that one in the hat.
that's a great one.
Stankovision implant.
I have
And,
no
yeah.
idea what that even means.
And
Yeah,
last,
you have to
but,
listen to
Glad I
early
didn't get it.
episodes.
Oh, okay, I didn't.
last but not least, instant burger.
Yes. That is.
I guess Sam gets the point for that one, right? He brought it up.
Oh, okay, we'll give Sam that point.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were like using Sam's voice as to, get out as your things, because you said
That's
some
part of the
pretty-
game now.
Yeah.
Wait, a Sam point is worth 2 points. Okay, Blake's got 9 points. Rod, you have 1 bluff point. What did you use?
I use shooting down drones, AI override procedure, red pill or blue pill, infrared targeting, test tube reincarnation, and American feudalism.
That gives Rod a grand total of 7 points. Dean.
A lot of mine were pretty wacky, so I didn't get that much. I got 4. Appliance revolt,
Appliance revolt.
biocircuit babies,
Circuit babies, yeah.
controlling our dreams,
Controlling
Oh,
our
nice,
dreams.
nice.
and synchronized shipping.
All right, give me the example of one of them that you thought was crazy.
Oh, okay.
Because personally, I thought all of these were gold.
Powered by candles. I had no idea how to introduce that.
Pretty
Oh,
hard,
yeah,
you're right.
yeah, yeah.
Well, okay, powered by candles. Think of solar panels and stuff, right?
I guess.
Come on, you gotta think, man. Okay, Migle, you have no bluff points. What do you got?
So I got 4, I think. Reconnecting neurons. And
Reconnecting neurons.
yeah, they went off on the therapy thing. And the AI possessed by demons.
AI possessed by demons.
Genetic selection process.
Genetic selection process.
And robots that vape.
Robots that vape. That was the first one she used. I heard that. And she used it as I picked up my vape to take a hit. All right. So she got a big 4 points. All right.
It's a good one.
There we go. Okay, so I got, come on, you guys. So many of these you should have called me
I
on.
mean, I wanted
I
to. I
came
didn't
out
know
of
I
left
could.
field with these. All right. Boneless livestock.
Oh, I thought that you were starting with that.
Well, he did, and then I got really into that conversation.
I used rolling the dice
the idea.
when I said, like, oh, let's make an algorithm of rolling a 20-sided die. I did rolling the dice.
But bones are so tasty.
My favorite of the day for me was nanobot assassins. And of course, come on, you guys, the Umbrella Corporation.
That's why I knew that one was
I thought that was
just
I was
obvious.
wondering.
You threw
Because-
that in like 5 times. I was like, that's gotta
Because
be
I
on
mean,
there.
why Umbrella and
Yeah,
not
it's zombie.
Skynet? But I was all like,
Exactly.
I'll just
the
let it
Umbrella
pass.
Corporation. Come on.
Umbrella's zombies,
We've
not
all
robots.
been there.
I would have
man,
called
yeah.
at least that one.
And then Blake helped me out with this one, Space Odyssey.
Thanks a lot, Blake.
Shut up, Dean. This one I
Damn it,
slipped
Blake.
in. It was a little more smooth. It was the new caste system.
The new casts.
Midnight Scrabble tournament, Bitcoin roulette, and then the last one I did was extracting the knowledge.
Whatever, Daniel. Whatever. You're like 30. I couldn't throw in the alien one. Some of these were a little much for me.
Calling the aliens? Oh, come on, this was built for that.
I was like, if
Oh,
I
you know what,
bring
though?
that up, I'm gonna get.
So-
Except I always poo-poo the aliens.
Poo them aliens.
There's no aliens.
I was
No
not probed. I
was not
probed them. So we end up with a tie for winner. Myself, which is unusual, and Blake.
And a tie for loser.
Good job, guys. Good job, guys.
Your hands might be sticky from my donuts.
Ooh, what you guys been doing over there?
Oh, it's cool.
So that brings us to the end of another episode of the List Game. Another successful episode brought to you by
That's stinky.
And that winds up another stupid episode of the List Game. What's going on next week? Heck, I don't remember what we recorded, but I hope to see you there. And remember, please subscribe to the podcast, rate us, and leave a review.